In this section, you will learn some concepts of DevOps, at the heart of which is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Now, what is DevOps? Here is what Wikipedia has to say. DevOps is a term that is used to refer to a set of practices that emphasize the collaboration and communication of both software developers and information technology professionals while automating the process of software delivery and infrastructure changes. Now, that's quite a mouthful. Let's break it down. First, let's take a look at the process in a standard IT project. It consists of several phases: the design phase, the development phase, the testing phase, the deployment phase, and finally followed by the post-deployment support. The design phase is when architects prepare the overall solution and hand it over to the development team. In the development phase, the development team understands the solution and implements it. And from time to time, they check in the code to a central repository. The code is then merged and built periodically. Then the developers manually run some unit tests to ensure that the code merged by all developers does not break any existing functionality or introduce new errors. If it does, then they fix those bugs and recheck in the code to the repository. Finally, they promote the code to a staging or a test environment. In the next phase, the QA or the testing team performs functional tests and then approves the final delivery of the code to production. Once approved, the code is deployed to production in the deployment phase. We now come to the issues that are inherent in this sort of an approach. The code merged by developers is manual. It is not well coordinated and ad hoc. This is fine for a small project, but for a medium or a large size project with more developers, it's not feasible and it is prone to repeated issues as the code merge at the repository has to be manual. The code review, the testing, and the build, all these steps are manual, which means it's time consuming, prone to errors, and unreliable. It would most of all waste a lot of development effort on redundant activities which the developers could actually spend on developing new code or a new feature. This is where DevOps continuous integration and continuous delivery comes into picture. Some of the most frequently used terms of DevOps are continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous delivery. Let's look at these one by one. First, continuous integration. Continuous integration is a DevOps software development practice where developers regularly merge their code changes into a central repository, after which automated builds and tests are run. The developers would be required to commit changes to their code in a central repository, usually a version control system like CVS, SVN, Git, several times a day. The CI tool then runs a job that automatically merges the code, runs a basic check on it, and does an automatic build. In case of any errors, the developers are notified immediately along with detailed logs. What this essentially means is that continuous integration is not just a bunch of tools that are used to run automated jobs and perform checks. It's also a mindset that has to be instilled in development teams. Let's look at the other two terms, continuous deployment and continuous delivery. We have seen that the continuous integration step builds the code and keeps it ready for deployment. The continuous deployment step then automatically deploys the code to a higher environment, usually a test environment for QA analysis and for functional and system tests to be run. Once the QA testing has passed, the release manager or the QA lead approves the changes to be delivered to production. The continuous delivery step takes care of this. The QA lead or the release manager manually triggers the production deployment. The key thing to remember is that this step is manual in spite of being a part of the CI CD pipeline, just so that there is better control on the code as well as the environment when it goes to production. Now, let's take a look at some of the popular CI CD tools that are out there in the market. There's Jenkins, there is Circle CI, Bamboo, Travis, and many more. In this course, the focus is mainly on Jenkins. It's probably the most popular tool because of the ease of its implementation, a huge community for support, and the ease with which the tool can be learned. It also has a large number of plugins that make it highly flexible to be used alongside any software. Let's take a deep dive into it in the coming lectures. So, see you there.